Oh, remembered. She remembered. Right, I'm not gonna lie. I think I've got a bit too hard at today because I just felt so unproductive last week. So today I was like, I don't care. I'm not sick any longer. I am going for it. And now I feel like I've hit burnout. I'm like, oh my God. Ugh. But we're gonna push on. We're gonna push through. If I lose my voice halfway through, bear with. Allow my life. It is what it is. It's going to happen. First things first, I want to talk about a good morning. Okay, so there's a lot of, I introduce them in at a certain point in your lifting journey. They're not a brand new lift. You will never see it unless you come into strong her quite advanced as a lifter. Even then, I want to make sure you can do the basic movements first. So they're kind of going to come in once you get to a certain point in the program. And it's they are so difficult to get your head around, but I've seen quite a few variations and actually like not bad, genuinely. But what you have to have done is mastered an RDL first, okay? Because a good morning is an RDL. They are exactly the same exercise, except one, the bar is here. The other one, they're going to be in front of you or dumbbells or whatever. So it's just that's the only difference. But pajama party, I am in my pajamas. I got a new dressing gown, guys. I think it makes me look enormous, but I'm here for it. Very Freddie Mercury over here. But this is an RDL. It's the hip hinge, okay? That's the motion. We're not coming down. We're not doing a squat. We are moving from these hips. And that wall is saying, bring my bum to the back of the room. Okay, so we are doing that motion. So if I've got dumbbells in front of me, here. If I've got bar on my back, here. That is the point. Okay, so we want to create this lovely V with the good morning. What I'm not doing is then dropping into a squat at the 11th hour. So I'm not going down, 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 squat. That's not a good morning. And what I'm also not doing is coming all the way down, 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 down here. All I'm now doing, and I can feel it, and I've got absolutely no weight whatsoever. My hamstrings have just completely taken over and isolated that exercise. That's not what we want. We want that glute drive engagement. And when you're in that really lengthened position, well done, by the way, for everyone who did send form checks through. We love it. Keep them coming. But when we get to that real lengthened position, squeeze through the glutes, and that's the piece that's going to drive you back up. And if you can get that engagement, you know you're in a good direction. Anyone that got a voice note from me this morning, you'll know I'm so out of breath these days. I'm like, I can't breathe through my nose. So trying to talk is so hard. And we do them on the Smith machine, by the way, deliberately, because it that actually makes it easier and better, and it's taking out some of the thought process. If we go straight into a non-fixed bar path, so just like you would like a low bar back squat, just with the squat rack on your own, that's going to be a lot harder. And if you do not make it back up, you are at serious risk. So we're going to do it on the Smith machine where you can put the stoppers in and you can actually make sure that you're performing it. And you can basically do it with the lightest load possible. Some gyms don't have a 15 kg bar. Most Smith machines start weights more like 11, maybe even down as low as 8. So again, it's the lightest weight that we can get you to start with, basically. So that's the reason for it. But and actually, ironically, Stacey, they are my favorite exercise. I think a good morning, Smith machine. I don't really mind if it's a Smith machine or not, but a good morning is my all time favorite exercise on the planet. So if you have any elements of gym in your program, you're probably going to get them at some point but they are a test. They're a test of character because you've got to get into it. You've really got to get your head into it. And you've also got to get that RDL mastered first. If you're really struggling, really feeling it in your back, bring it back to an RDL. That's going to be the best switch for you. If you feel an RDL in your back, we probably ought to master that before we bring in the good morning. So giving you a bit of context there. Yeah, they're honestly, they are good fun, but they do take some getting your head around. Right. Breathe, breathe. I try and fly through it, and I'm like, it's going to make me out of breath. So we're going to work with it. So, 14 reasons why body weight can fluctuate so much as women. But before we do, I want to shout out Stacey and Leah, both completely different reasons, but incredible, incredible fat loss results this week. Like one getting under an enormous milestone, which, like I say, out of all the women we've ever coached, is the hardest milestone. The other one really making strides. Like we are getting so close to that reverse diet phase. And it's just been an absolute dream to watch her week on week chip away, and just seeing where she's getting to. And it's just phenomenal to see. And we've also got Kirsten and Keely, both of which, one obviously put it in the Strong Her community. The other one didn't feel as confident to do that. Absolutely fine, no right or wrong, but both of which were actually wearing bikinis for the first time. And I think one was 8 years and the other one was 20 years. Do you know what I mean? That is a long time to not have felt good in your body. And now to be able to feel like they can wear bikinis is sensational. So well done to both of those ladies. Right. So reason number one, water retention, bloating, so hormonal changes, high salt intake, dehydration can cause the body to retain water, leading to a temporary weight gain. So I'd actually argue that there's three in one in that session, and I will go and break those down more individually. But these are massive ones. But the point of that is, water is not the enemy. So many of you guys will have heard me say this, that we can't expect, like, we're never going to see the weighing scales do that. That is never going to be exactly what happens. It will do a bit of this. It'll do a little bit of a wiggly worm as we go through the process. And that's completely normal as long as we're going on that trajectory that we want to be going on longer term. But all three of those reasons can cause water retention. There's more than just those three reasons. 9 times out of 10, water weight is the reason why the weighing scales are going to fluctuate day to day. Menstrual cycle. This is a big one. I love coaching this because I think it's so fucking important to actually understand your specific menstrual cycle, which is why the majority of you, not all of you, and you will know if it's you or if it's not you, and if I've never coached you through it, you have never been asked to do this because it's just not in alignment with your goals. But you will have been coached to take your weight daily. And if you are following whether it's a 26-day cycle, 28-day, 32, whatever it might be for you, we want you to learn this data. And the daily weight can give you some clues as to what happens in your specific menstrual cycle. But the chances of your water retention, again, water retention, it's not fat, but your water retention increasing on the build up to your cycle or as you begin bleeding. Mine happens when I hit the heavy bleed day. So usually day one is a bit meh. Day two, I'm like fucking volcanic eruption. That's too graphic, isn't it? Too graphic. But that is essentially when my water weight will come in. And it usually takes me a couple of days after my period is gone entirely for my water retention to come back down. A lot of women that we coach, it comes in a little bit earlier. It comes in before you actually start the bleed, and it actually leaves maybe within a day or so before your bleed finishes as well. So the point is, it's learning your body. It's learning your menstrual cycle. So leaning into those daily weigh-ins, really, really important. Glycogen storage. So carbohydrates are stored as glycogen in the muscles. This is probably actually the second biggest one that we see that causes those fluctuations on the weighing scales. If you've probably been in this program for more than 2 weeks, at any point you will have heard me say this. Now, here's the consideration. I always coach calories first, macro second. Okay, so calories are the piece of the puzzle. As long as we're underneath, great. Then we want that protein piece. Amazing. We want to be as close to that as we can possibly get. Then it kind of when it comes to carbs and fats, doesn't really matter unless you're perimenopause, PCOS, endometriosis. Like we do really want to prioritize the fats as well. But otherwise, we can kind of swing round between the two. Again, as long as we are under the calorie allowance. However, for every 1 gram of carbohydrate that you consume, and I would actually say it's higher than 3 grams of water, I'd say it's closer to 4 to 5 grams of water, you are basically going to store as water on your body. So if you go 20 grams higher in your carbs, you're going to be storing 4 to 5 times that in water retention. So that's the piece of the puzzle to consider. So carbs are not the enemy, but this is also the reason why so many people say to cut them out entirely, because it's given you an illusion of thinking that you're losing weight when actually it's water weight and not weight itself. So it doesn't really play a massive part. But if you do find that your weight is fluctuating and you do look at how many carbs you're having, consider, am I really over my carb weight, my macros as a carbohydrate? Yes or no? If I am, right, okay, I can cool my jets a little bit. That's probably the reason why the weight has gone up a little bit. Digestion and food intake. So number four, so the weight of food and drink consumed, of course, can cause short-term fluctuations. Larger meals, higher fiber intake, slower digestion can make you feel heavier until the food is processed. Timing of your food eating. If you're eating really late at night and then you expect your body to have digested that by the morning, it might not happen, guys. It literally might still be in your body trying to digest. You might one day be able to poop before your daily check-in, and another day you might not be able to poop. All of these things again are going to be consideration because food has a mass. Water, it's not empty. Do you know what I mean? It's not airless. It's not like weightless. So as soon as we put things into our body, we have to expect that the weight is going to shift because there's suddenly something inside of us. Just trying to get my voice to hang on in. Did I put that in the right place? I feel like I put this in the wrong place. I was really trying earlier and I don't think I put it in the right place. But I just want to show you. Three of you I noticed did this morning. All three of you I had the conversation with. But you can see here beautifully, and these are just examples. You've all fucking done it. Every single one of you, I can guarantee, has done this at some point or another. So there's no shade. It's education. It's information that you can have in your armor to go, right, okay, yeah, that's what they're looking for. This is what's going on. So you can see here beautifully. So Monday of last week, 94.01, 93.4, 93.5. So this little bit that we're talking about here, so the 93.4, it's slightly increased, didn't it? That's a normal fluctuation. That is completely and utterly normal. But you can see it is moving on a downward trajectory. And then we pretty much, for all intents and purposes, on Friday, we hit 93 kilograms. But look what happened on Saturday. We've jumped up an entire kilo. Now, my first question would usually be, have you just come on your period? As in, is that literally coming? But if you came on your period here, you're not going to get the water weight down on here. It's always a massive question mark when this happens over the weekend as well. This is always where I'm going to be like, what did you do? Okay? I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to hold the mirror up so you can go, yeah, that takeaway that I had on a Friday night, or you know what, I did go out. We've had women that have been doing award ceremonies, or that's obviously birthdays. Do you know what I mean? These are the things where we go, absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? We control the controllables. And I will be doing a presentation on calorie banking as we get closer to the holiday season and everybody's going to start having Christmas parties. So I just want to make sure it's bang on with my timing and not too early so people forget everything. But you can see from this one, and this was another one. So you could see Friday, actually fine. Saturday, also absolutely fine. And by the way, these weights are the day after the fact. Do you know what I mean? So, what I'm looking for in the log, and this one demonstrated that on Sunday, there would, I think it was something like 294 calories logged on Sunday. But as we jump into Monday, again, that kilogram of water weight has come in. Now, it is water weight. You would be hard pushed to put on a kilo of body fat in that time. But both of these examples are now having to start their brand new week exactly where they left off last week. Both of these ladies in this example are going, oh, I wonder why this isn't working as well for me as it is for some of the other women inside of the program. Yeah, the data leaves clues. Now, the one thing I will give both of these women credit for is their accountability. Because if we know, we can ask the right questions. We can see, right, is there a way around this? Can we start calorie banking? Is this a one-off? Is this a reoccurring theme? These are the things we can start to look into. But if you're ditching the data, we can't help you. We can't, if we've got no data, we don't know when it spiked, we can't correlate it back to your nutrition log. And this is why it's always got to be data over drama. And some people say, God, it's the hardest thing in the world to track and log. I'm thinking, fucking, like, and this is going to sound awful, but go to Gaza and tell me this is fucking hard because it's not. It's not fucking hard. Like, I'm sorry, but this is not difficult. Like it truly, truly isn't. Do you know what I mean? And I don't care how busy we are, who's got what life, who does what. Like we're all busy. Do you know what I mean? Like I specifically specialize in coaching busy women, but this is the point. It's like you're gonna eat anyway, right? And if we're going to eat anyway, we can definitely scan it. We could definitely log it. We could definitely get into the habit of doing this. Bowel movement, so poopage. So some of you guys, I do specifically ask to put a little poop emoji next to your daily weigh-ins because that's really helpful information. If any of you want to start doing that, that's really helpful because again, I need to see if you are constipated, if your bowels aren't moving as much. When we enter a deficit, things can start to slow down at a certain point. So we need to be able to time refeeds. We need to be able to look at the structure. We need to see if the fiber is where it needs to be. And FYI, fruit and vegetable is really going to help you out there, guys. So trying to get fruit or veggies into every single meal you consume is majorly going to do you a solid. So it's that kind of thing. We want to be able to keep a regular system. If we're comparing 3 days of backed up poopage to a clear run day, you can expect to see the weight kind of pivot around a little bit. Dehydration. So, not drinking enough water can lead to that temporary weight loss due to reducing water weight, but then it can cause the water retention when your body tries to compensate. So, if you're not keeping to that minimum 2 liters of water a day and keeping that fairly consistent throughout the day and having a drink, again, we're trying to flush out those toxins. We're trying to aid our digestion system. These are some of the basics. If we're not digesting correctly, are we hydrating correctly? These are the sorts of things that the full picture kicks in for. Exercise and muscle repair. This is an enormous one. So this was a question that came up to me this morning about the fact that they trained, I think it was the last 3 days in a row, and a lot later than they would normally be able to. Now, again, credit to this woman because she's trying to make it work. She's trying to get her workouts in when she can, and she's doing the piece of the puzzle. Like some of you guys on your walking pads, as per usual, great opportunity to get the steps in. But what she's saying is, I feel like my weight has stalled for a few days on the trot. Can that play a part? Absolutely, because muscle inflammation is a real thing. If you're training very, very close to failure and you are really pushing yourself in your workouts, in order to recover, your muscles have to draw in water. And that's exactly what's happening in order to help them repair. So you can get that inflammation if you've got a level of DOMS, a little bit of muscle soreness, you can almost expect the water retention to be in the mix with that as well. So it's a good gauge of going, oh, yeah, oh, I can feel that. Oh, when you just know, usually then you can expect that slight creep in the weigh-in scales as well. Stress and cortisol levels. We are all highly stressful women inside of this program. Usually, I would say high achievers, usually a level of high cortisol going in there as well. And you all know who you are. And there'll be peaks and troughs. Like stress is not a continuum. Neither, again, it's the same as fat loss. It's not like just exactly the same at all levels. You're going to go through peaks and troughs with stress as well. But it can again lead to the water retention piece. If your body is not performing at its highest standard, and especially there probably is this coming up as well, but the sleep in there as well. So if you are, I'm talking about chronic stress, and you will know if you've had crippling chronic stress where you wake up in the night and you're thinking about work, or you're thinking about the project, or what you're going to say about this, or what that client's thinking about this, and you're literally tying yourselves in knots. This is where I would argue the gym piece is the most important, the training piece, because you've got to bring those stress levels down. You've got to move your body, because you've got to get the brain actually flowing with the endorphins, and that becomes your priority. We've got to move you out of chronic stress, moreover than working on the fat loss piece, because it's not going to be doing you any favors. Alcohol. You know this one, guys. You know this one. We see it time and time again over the weekend. People do like a little drinky poo. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's just being aware that when you have alcohol in your system, again, it is a dehydrating like mechanism. That is exactly what the ethanol is doing. Is it's dehydrating you. It's leading you to make different decisions, because it is signaling you to eat a load of shit as well. Now, we do sometimes have it where people will be like, oh, I did have a few drinks, but my God, I reserved myself from having that takeaway. I did not go for the cupboards. All I did was the alcohol. But you have to make a decision where you want your calories to come from. Do you want the liquid calories? Can you handle the liquid calories without then having all the other shit that goes with it? And therefore, suddenly you're 2,500 calories into a surplus. Like, that's a very personal thing. But we know alcohol stalls fat loss anyway, just as an organic way of trying to process through the liver. It is going to slow that process down. So you will see a short-term blip, and it can definitely push you in the wrong direction. So my advice would be to consider, can you stretch the gap between the alcohol? Can you not have it every single weekend? Those are the kind of things where we can make smarter choices. I don't know why that says alcohol again. What am I doing here? Medication, I should say. So, hormonal contraceptions, anti-inflammatories, steroids, all of these things again can have an impact. Thyroid medication, this is another thing. So, you will all get asked when you come into the program if you are on any medication, and if that changes, please let us know. Again, not from a judgmental perspective, just from it could be really important for us to be aware of this, so that we can again make sure that like expectations are being leveled during this window. Now it might just be a short-term thing, it could be a longer term thing, but again, just making us aware is really helpful. Sleep, as I mentioned, massive, massive one. This will impact your ability to make good choices. This is one of the primary factors. And again, I talked about this last week with one of the women, really, really low on the sleep front because of a huge project. She's now on holiday. She's living her best life, soaking up the sun in the Bahamas, I think, somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So she's paid her dues to be able to now live like a queen for the next couple of weeks. But she was fucking suffering. She was really suffering, and her ability to want to go to the vending machine constantly was really overdriven by the fact that she only had 3 hours sleep. So it can be a massive one for shift workers. Like we've got another client, I think last week, I think she worked a 64-hour week, crazy. Do you know what I mean? And in those weeks, we have to kind of go, this might not be the best week. We might want to put our focus into next week, and you're just going to have to try and sleep as much as you can to recover. And then we're going to have a push week and we might have a pullback week where we're just not going to be able to see the results that we would hope for because you are exhausted. And we're just going to try and mitigate that as much as we can. Environmental factors, heat and humidity, not so much at this time of the year, unless anybody is going on holiday, but you will feel a bit like you blow up a little bit in the heat. It is a massive one where it was really interesting. There was a week where I don't think pretty much anyone lost any weight on the program, and it was this year. And I was like, what the fuck has gone on? And it was a really weird thing because, as you know, Coach Kat and I meet every Monday, and I was like, how did everyone get on? And we go through every single person, and we were like, how the hell has nobody? No one lost any weight this week. And then that was all we could draw it back to. The fact that everyone was a little bit just increased in mass, a tiny bit. I'm only talking like kilo, but I was like, you could literally see the dates unfold where it suddenly got really hot. And then everyone's water retention went up. And it was mad to witness, like really interesting as just felt like an eclipse or something that doesn't happen very often. But yeah, really interesting from our side, but it can definitely play its part, just not, it's not going to be as much this time of the year. You're likely to shrink a bit in the winter, so that goes for us. Hormonal imbalances are kind of touched on this, things like hypothyroidism. Do you know what I mean? There are PCOS, things that can impact and play their part. And again, especially if medications are coming into play, we can even switch between like underactive, overactive thyroid. There can be a lot at play when it comes to reading this kind of information. So we've got to get really tuned in on these sorts of things. But this is also where I mentioned the healthy fats are always likely to be a little bit higher than they would be for somebody without any of these symptoms, because it will shift the makeup of the macronutrients that your body will organically want. Gaining, losing muscle, fat mass over time, of course, can cause slight fluctuations. Now, one thing I will not have, and I draw a blank on this as a coach, is when people think they're 3 months into the program and they think, oh, maybe the weighing scales are not moving because I'm building muscle. No, you can drop body fat so much faster. As in, if we're just talking scientifically, we're taking out all of the emotional factors, all of the things that can derail a person. Like if we're talking just strict facts, you can lose fat so much faster than you can build muscle. It takes a really long time in order to see any major differences on the weighing scales in terms of actually building the muscle piece, which is also why we don't turn into the Incredible Hulk ever, to me, ever. But it is a big one that people suddenly start to go, oh, is this why? No, no, it's not. Do you know what I mean? You're missing the nutrition piece, or your energy output has decreased, or there's usually, again, a cause and an effect for that. So the scales, this could explain it. Again, we always want to do this through the nutrition piece, like I just said. It's calories in, calories out. But the easiest way for us to be able to accurately measure this is going to be through the nutrition piece. It's always going to be too difficult to measure accurate calories burned, so we don't do it that way. We just try and work on that. And here's just some examples, excuse me, of what real life fat loss actually looks like. And you can see every single one of these women has a blip in their charts. It, like even the bottom one, do you know what I mean? You might even argue, bloody hell, like I'd want it to look different to that. That's what real life looks like. And especially over 100 kgs, like I said, it's the hardest place to coach because it's the biggest amount of undoing that we've got to do. You don't get to that point by accident. Do you know what I mean? But either way, it's never going to be 100% smooth sailing. There are always going to be blips in the road. And my point is, you want the blips in the road. The reason for that is because that's when you're going to get the best value of coaching from me and from Coach Kat. When we see those blips and go, what's going on here? We can start to unpick the story and we can fill in the blanks of what's actually been going on. So that is genuinely when you will find the most value from us. I'm not telling you all to go and fuck up this week just so that you feel like you've got extra value for coaching. I'm not saying that, but at some point it will come. And at some point we will then be able to guide you through it. So that is the purpose of this. Smart skills, I'm pretty sure every single one of you now pretty much has these, but this will also help your brain energy. So when you don't just take the overall weight reading and you can actually start to see the muscle mass, the visceral fat, the subcutaneous fat, when you can start to see the water retention, more of the data, it's not 100% accurate. It never will be. Do you know what I mean? But it's giving you some better indications than not having anything at all. So I would definitely invest in those. And they are less than 20 quid. And if you just put in smart scales on Amazon, even on Prime, you can actually get them less than that. So I would do that. And then again, check the fuck in and use that daily weigh in because again, if we can start to tell you the pictures of you can come in, by the way. Thomas is gonna he's just got back from jiu-jitsu again, so he'll be starving. So don't give him a stage because he'll take it. He loves talking about jiu-jitsu, bless him. I haven't got a clue what he's going on about. But this is it. The more data you give us, the more information you give us, the more thorough you are with that check-in, the more we're going to be able to coach you through what's going on. And again, a bit like a few of you did message me this morning going, oh, my weight has done this. Like, or what has happened with this? Like, again, I can answer those questions. I can have a look and actually make sure that we are on the straight and narrow and actually doing what we should be. So we'll stop sharing my screen. Does anybody have any questions? I look forward to those in your plan. That was about the good mornings, wasn't it? So lovely to see so many of you, by the way. Every time I do a bit of a stroppy gym message, it's like, oh, we get a big audience. I love to see it. So while you're all here, does anybody have any weight related questions? We're too scared not to. I love that, man. Andy's been in the program almost as long as it's been going. So, but this is it. You can still learn, even being in the program for as long as Mandy has. There's always lessons to pick up, to learn, to refresh, to go back over. And again, we try and make these trainings based on what we're seeing, based on questions we're being asked. So if you ever have anything that you think, oh, I'd love to know more about this, or I'd love to understand what's going on here, please message, please pop it in because I can cover off anything that I think is going to be relevant. So we'll put that in. No more questions. Don't be scared to ask questions, by the way. That's what I'm here for. And again, there is no such thing as a stupid question. I make this clear every week. I just love the support received from you both. That's amazing. And we love all of you guys too. Honestly, we I say it all the time, but we're the luckiest women on the planet because Coach Kat and I should have said, Coach Kat and I love what we do. We genuinely love helping you guys out and seeing you thrive and seeing you crack nuts that you didn't think you were going to get to, or hit new milestones, or lift heavier than you dreamed were possible, or tackle new exercises like a good morning and having the confidence to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? All of these things are incredible wins. Even if you feel like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here, you're still turning up, you're still doing it, and you're still trying, and you're still asking for form checks. Like, again, like we're failing forward, aren't we? We're always moving that needle forward. Dumbbell around the world. Why can't I increase the weight ever? Welcome to the club. You like lateral raises or a dumbbell around the world, essentially, where one just goes a bit further than the other. It is exhausting and it's really funny because so one of the things I'm always concerned about is when I record exercises for the library, I batch record. So I do lots of exercises in one go. I have to lower the weights on everything that I'm doing because by that point I might be 30 sets into something or I don't like the angle. So I reshoot and then I reshoot and then I have to do it again and again and again to make sure it's exactly what I want you guys to see. And when I do things like dumbbell around the world, and I'm going, it's not socially acceptable to do this with 1 kilo. But at this point, I am dead. I am spent. And I might have done that exercise for about 50 reps. No one knows this. And I'm going, oh my God. Like they are a killer. It's such a small muscle group. You're literally working the anterior delt, which literally runs here. That's it. It's like a slither that runs inside of that part of the muscle. Again, it's my sexiest muscle on a woman. As soon as you see that, I'm like, she lifts, yes. If I go higher, I end up throwing myself back. Yeah, and you do, and you will. There are some exercises. I think it might have been Natalie. She was asking for a form check on a overhead press. Now, there are a couple of ways to do an overhead press. Now, one is a strict press, which basically means I don't think I'm going to be able to perform this very well. I don't think you're going to get a proper sense of it. Imagine I'm just going to come down, but imagine I am stood up. A strict press would literally be you've got the bar and you're pushing up and you are strictly holding every muscle to come back. Whereas a non-strict press, you're going to use momentum, where you kind of use momentum to get that bounce at the bottom to come down to go back up again. Same for a lat raise. You can do it strict, where you literally everything is tight, or you can kind of swing a little bit of the knee. Now, I would say if you are coming up on the weights and you're trying to crack the next weight bracket, I don't mind a little bit of momentum coming into play and actually not being as strict on the motion. Same as you'll find it with a lat pull down, you start to, your form can become a bit questionable. I think if your form is generally actually pretty good across the board, and you will know this if you're feeling it in the right muscle groups, you're working the right places, you're not new to lifting, you've been doing things a while and you're into the swing of it. Then when you're trying to crack a new weight or a new bracket on something, you might find you do lose a little bit of form in order to then progress and actually get better form and use that weight in its entirety without having to use momentum to get something going. I'm not against that. You will see me do that. So I might strict overhead press maybe 4 or 5 reps, and then I might start to use a bit of momentum to bring it down and up again. Same for lat raises. Where is the iliac crest? Never heard of this. Does that say that? Crest. Don't know what the crest is. What do we mean? Iliac crest. Crest. There's like an iliac, that one. Don't know if that's what you mean. Yeah, that is what you mean. Crest, I don't know what that word is, but that is, it's basically a cable exercise. So the cable's kind of ahead of you. I'll try and turn this way. And you're pulling in to this. And then you're kind of pivoting round and coming back. It's that one. It's a bit like, it's a lat pull down, but it's more single-sided, but really good exercise. You will get them at some point. Usually that's where I'm considering how much time somebody has got and whether we can actually go, yeah, she's got the time to do single sets, or actually, no, I'm better off just programming a lat pull down because we haven't got the time to do it on both sides. I don't think I mentioned that muscle on the round the world. I'm confused. Oh no, it's in your program. I'm well confused. Like I'm not keeping up. Guys, I'm sick. I'm still sick. Don't ask this much of me. It's like bloody coming up to 9 o'clock. Um, the iliac crest, not a part of your hips. I don't know what we're talking about here. What are we talking about? What exercise are we talking about? I'm so confused. I'm talking about an iliac pull down here. You guys are talking about something else, and then
Yeah,
someone else thinks it's something else. Karen, go for it.
yeah, no, that's what I said. Iliac pull downs. That's on my Friday workout.
No, so we do. So
I was
we're
like,
all just
what's this? I don't even know what this is.
yeah, that is basically that's what it is. It's like a lat pull down. in the closest way, but you are just going to be working. But it will bring in a little bit of biceps, a little bit of triceps, and lats as well. So running down the side. It is a good exercise, and I do think you do have the time. You train a bit more in the day. So you will be able, and some people can't get on the cables and we have to immediately take them out, whereas I know you can because you've sent me form checks. So I know you can get on them. Yeah, Hannah, I can relate. Feel like that just went woof over everybody's head. And I apologize. I'm like I say, I'm not on top form today. Right. Any other questions? Anything else while you've got me? Any more for any more? The gavel is going down. Right. Good night and love you all, legends. And we will be having another stalk again in the middle of the week. Don't wait until then. If you're struggling with anything at all, please reach out either to each other in the community or obviously directly to us as your coaches. But have an amazing week. It is a great time to have a good week. Let's crush it. I think we're 8 weeks on the countdown to Christmas now. So let's fucking go, legends. Bye.